Hey, this is Greg Boysen from CHGO Blackhawks.
And I am Doofus McGee, a.k.a. Greg Braggs Jr. from CHGO Bears.
And this is CHGO Tavern Style presented by Salerno's Pizza. Head over to the Grand Avenue location and call 312-666-3444 and make a reservation today. And today,
You guys were eating some Salerno's yesterday.
I would eat Salerno's every day. If that could be a thing. Yes, they were happy enough to send over a giant order ahead of the NHL Draft lottery, which is the inspiration of today's topic. Which team, the Bears or the Blackhawks, is further along in their rebuild as both teams are trying to become the next champion here in Chicago?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because, you know, the franchise player for each team, Connor Bedard, and now for the Bears, Caleb Williams. I mean, Connor's going into his second year, where Caleb's going into his rookie season here this year. So from the franchise player standpoint alone, maybe the Blackhawks have that argument, but then I look at the team in its totality, and maybe you can, educate me a little more on how far along the Blackhawks roster is. But it just feels like the defense, the Bears, had the second half of the season. They led the entire NFL in interceptions with 22 interceptions, most of those coming after they traded for Montez Sweat. So their defense is already ready to go. Then you traded for you brought in Keenan Allen. You've got DJ Moore on your team. You get Roma Dunze with the 9th pick in the draft. And all of a sudden the Bears somehow, some way have an offense, at least on paper, that seems like it's got some weaponry.
Yeah, overall, rebuilding in the NFL is a lot quicker process than in the NHL.
Yeah. Because
in the NFL, when you're a draft pick, you play right away. There's no minor leagues, there's no junior leagues. You either make the team or you don't.
Sure.
You're also picking 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds, where in hockey you're picking 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. They're not even fully grown yet. So you have to let them develop more. So, yes, the Blackhawks got their franchise player. The Bears hopefully have theirs. But I think the Bears are further along because of all those other pieces. They have definitely put Caleb Williams in a much better position to succeed in year one than Connor Bedard was for the Blackhawks.
It's a unique situation. Most rookies, I don't care what sport,
right,
when you're the number one pick, you typically aren't coming into a team that is ready to win. But with the Bears having the Panthers pick, that was the unique situation where they were essentially, a fringe playoff team last year that also happened to have the rights to the number one pick from a team that was truly the worst in the NFL, that being the Carolina Panthers.
Thank you, Carolina Panthers.
Forever and always.
For basically reshaping the Bears franchise.
We should send them some Salerno's.
Yeah, I mean, thank the Carolina Panthers and thank Salerno's. Stop by Salerno's on Tap, located at 1201 West Grand Avenue in Chicago's West Town, and enjoy our tavern-style pizza and ice-cold beers, whether you're headed to the game, want to watch it live on multiple big-screen TVs, or if you're watching from home, Salerno's has you covered. Go to salernospizza.com or call 312-666-3444. Mention CHGO, and they are going to give you half off your pizza. That's not half off the size of the pizza. That's half off the price of the pizza.
That's a hell of a deal.
It is. So head to salernospizza.com today and get yourself the best pizza in Chicago.
It's a hell of a deal. So I guess let me ask you this, because, like you said, players play right away in the NFL. So Caleb Williams, I think is going to get some leeway to develop into a great quarterback in this league. But it is an instant gratification league that is the NFL. How long, because you said it takes players in hockey to mature and become grown men. That's a hard sport to keep up with some of the guys that are some of the vets. So how long until Connor Bedard reaches his final form, his full potential as the superstar that we all knew him to be when they drafted him?
Well, that also depends on how quickly the team around him improves, because hockey, to me, is the ultimate team sport. You have to have 18 guys pulling in the same direction in order for it to work. I mean, just look at Connor McDavid in Edmonton. Very few people argue he's not the best player in the game, one of the maybe best to ever do it. and he's struggled. He's not even made it to a Stanley Cup final, win a cup. And a lot of that is to do because questions with goaltending, questions with defense, no scoring depth, got to do it all on his own. Where, once that team around Connor Bedard gets better, it's going to open up the ice more for him. But as far as like physically going to be there, it's probably another 2 seasons before we really see him hit his full stride.
Well, so, also, too, just with the second overall pick, if they take the Russian, he might not even be over next year. Like, it might even be,
it's
not
be
even
a year. But again, he's 18.
Yeah, right.
Even if if you pick him from a junior team in Canada, he's probably not.
So how big of a disappointment was that the Bears got the number 1 pick 2 years in a row? You guys fell just short of it, having number 1 last year, Connor Bedard. Now this year, you get the number 2 pick. Was that a huge disappointment, or the Blackhawks still coming away with a really good player?
Not even a disappointment at all, because you got Connor Bedard last year. Where if you went 2 last year and 1 this year,
I see.
Not as good as getting Connor Bedard in 2 this year. I was fine. They couldn't have fallen below 4th. Any one of those spots is great because you already have Connor Bedard, and you have a second first-round pick, and you have 3 second-round picks, and you have 2 first-round picks.
So who are you looking with this pick? Is it more of a Duncan Keith type or more of a Jonathan Taves type to Connor Bedard's Patrick Kane to do a loose comparison hockey-wise?
Because we'll be talking about that a lot. We talked about it after the draft. Was it after we know where they had 2? We're going to talk about it on Wednesday's show and probably every show between now and the draft.
Because it always shocks me when I talk to you guys on CHGO Blackhawks, and to a man, all 3 of you, like most borderline hockey fans, just the average hockey fan that just watches the games, doesn't break it down as hard, would say Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves are the best players from the dynasty. But you guys always say Duncan Keith. So to me, wouldn't you want to find that Duncan Keith type to add to this roster?
Those guys are hard to find. There is a candidate there. There is a right-handed shot defenseman that could be the pick, or there's a talented young kid from Russia. Those are the 2 choices. So it's up to Kyle Davidson, who already says we're taking best player available, not necessarily by position.
Interesting.
So we shall see. We'll have about 7 weeks to talk about it on CHGO.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, just in terms of who's closer, I think the Bears already have a lot of those pieces in terms of...
You got the cheat code. You hopefully have your franchise quarterback, and that is the difference in the NFL. There are very few guys like that, and if Caleb Williams is that guy, that puts you over the top.
Yep. I mean, Caleb Williams should be a multiplier, and he's going to a team that has a lot of multipliers already on it when you consider Keenan Allen, the career he's had, even last year, even at his age, was one of the best years of his career. DJ Moore is a multiplier. So if Caleb Williams adds to that, now you're multiplying the multipliers, and now that's a lot of math that hurts my brain.
A lot of numbers. Numbers bigger than we can get into because we are out of time.
It's a good time to be a Chicago sports fan all of a sudden, baby.
Well, our producer Sean may not agree with that necessarily, but yes, overall, it's not a bad time.
Well, I will take the Bears being good over the White Sox being good.
That's fair.
So
that's fair.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
Greg absolutely was right to clap. The other Greg, not you, Greg.
All right, I'll clap.
2 Gregs don't make a right.
We all silly like the mayor.